Welcome to another episode of Preparing for the Unexpected. I'm your host, Alex Fullick, and as always, we like to talk about things related to resilience, business continuity, crisis management, COVID, anything that's relatable to those subjects, and anything that helps you, your organization, or your community plan, prepare for, respond to, and overcome adverse situations. Today, I want to talk about embedding business continuity management programs into your organization. There seems to be a lot of talk about that lately. We got to embed, but yet it's the same talk I was hearing in the 90s. And now we're 2021. So we're not doing a very good job of embedding BCM into our organizations if we're still having the same challenges 25 years later. That's crazy. We shouldn't be having that challenge. That says we're not doing a very good job of it. And maybe we just aren't looking in the right spots. Something that I want to point out is not, in my view, is not embedding or embedding BCM into an organization, is the begging buy-in handout. I don't think that is embedding business continuity just because you have an executive who has buy-in. I don't know a single executive who does not believe that it's important to continue the organization. Of course it is. You know, if there's a fire, flood, any kind of situation, they're executives. That's their role, to keep the organization going and making it profitable for shareholders, stakeholders, themselves, employees, clients, vendors, suppliers, partners, customers. That's their role. They have buy-in on that. And I don't think going to them every couple of months, trying to get, quote, buy-in with our hands open, asking, please, 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 let me do my job. Let me take the next step. They hired you. You're already a part of the organization. There already is buy-in. What they don't know is what you're doing, because we haven't embedded it into the organization. We haven't made it a part of our regular activities within the organization. So here's a few ways we can do that, which will actually give them insight into what you're doing. And you'll be embedding business continuity management into the organization. One way is find out which executive has the responsibility of business continuity management. Who at that C-suite table is responsible for business continuity management? You make sure they get updates, not begging for permission to do things. Make sure you give them an updates of where the gaps are in the processes, what's happening, what's not happening, what hurdles you're encountering. You may have to work with your director or manager to get that information to them. But if they are responsible for it, they've got to know what's going on. You don't just kind of ignore it, right? You're talking with your manager, but then that's as far as it goes. Nobody else knows what's going on. And then that's when business continuity is seen as an afterthought. They're not doing any value. We just have them here for audit and compliance. Make sure we get the tick box at the end of every year or whatever the case may be. They have no understanding of really what's going on. We're not showing our value, and we're not embedding BCM into the process that way. We got to keep them in the loop. We have to proactively let them know what's going on and where we need their help. If you have a program management office or a project management office, a PMO, get involved. Projects are making changes left and right and center all throughout the year, nonstop. People changes, application changes, big system changes, client changes, various implementations that are happening, new ways of doing things. It could be the same process, but all the ways of doing it are different. Different stakeholders, identifies different dependencies. New dependencies will be identified, some will go away. Get proactively involved with that and find out ahead of time. Don't go a year later and find out, okay, well, what changed in the last year from all the projects you did? That makes us look pretty bad. And I've got another video on that, so go back and have a look at that one. But get involved with the PMO. Embed BCM into what project management does. It doesn't mean you're managing the project. It means you're one of the stakeholders who, when they've identified this is what's changing, this is what we're going to be doing, you can go back and proactively identify these plans need to change. I need to update this. I need to find out who is now the new owner of this application and slot their name in or whatever, get them on board because they're brand new. They may not have any idea of what they are now responsible for from a business continuity perspective. Proactively do it. Don't wait a year. Onboarding. Well, a lot of people say, hey, we have brochures and, we have messages for people. But if you'll notice, a lot of organizations these days, when it comes to onboarding, there's a whole list of training courses they have to take. Money laundering, risk management, code of conduct, various aspects, that half-hour courses or an hour-long courses, an online, seminar or something. Try and put one together for business continuity management. It's not just a brochure in this hiring package that a lot of people say, oh, they have a business continuity plan. And then off to the side it goes. And they never read it, never pay attention to it. And later on, if they're called upon to make an action, have no idea what their role is, what they should be doing. They don't know anything more than what that brochure said on the cover, if they even opened it. Create an online little course. Doesn't have to be huge or detailed, but lets them know that if you're a manager, this is what you do on a basic level. If you're an employee, this is what you're responsible for. Everyone in your organization has a responsibility when something occurs. No one gets to stand back and just say, oh, well, wash my hands. I'm Pontius Pilate. Not for me to worry about. Everyone has a role to play. Another part is change your awareness. If you want business continuity to be a part of the organization, stop focusing on hanging up posters. And that's our awareness. You hang up a poster and everyone's supposed to stop in the hallway and read it and have a full understanding of everything that needs to be done, what they're supposed to do, what other people do, when they do it, how they do it, where they get all their information, communications, everything. No, that's not awareness. You want awareness. Get people actively involved in training. If you're a part of the PMO and you've identified that 3 new people are coming on board that are taking a greater responsibility for something, their role has changed. They need to be given the opportunity to learn what it is they need to do. They have to become a part of exercises. And I'm not saying that you have one massive exercise every year with everyone involved. You can have a bunch of smaller ones, small tabletops. With these different small groups, you don't have to have a room full of 50 people to do a tabletop. You can have just 5 and just go through things, slowly work things out, get their questions, address their questions and concerns, and clarify things for them. That's becoming a part of the organization. And you do that with everyone involved. And you escalate into different testing techniques and different strategies, from simulations to announced tests, on such and such date, this is what we're going to be doing, to unannounced, which can be tricky because people will spend the first hour or 2 wondering, is this real? Is this not real? Should we do this? Should we not do this? But it lets people practice, go through their plans. If they have a plan, if they have a checklist, go through and find out, okay, hey, based on this, we need to add such and such, or this strategy no longer works because it's focusing on a specific application we don't even use. That was decommissioned a year ago, but because we're not embedded with PMO, we don't know that. So change your awareness approach. Awareness should really be training and practicing, not just a poster on the wall. If organizational change, OCM, organizational change management, identifies that 2 departments are merging or splitting, or you've taken over a merger and acquisition, you've joined with another company, you purchased another one, get involved with that as well and find out what's the impact on our existing plans. Is there something this organization that we just acquired, do they have something we can leverage to enhance and bring everything together? Don't sit around and wait. Proactively go and do it and find out. That's how you embed, by proactively getting involved, getting out there, reach, don't just walk around and send or even and drop off a questionnaire on a desk or send an email, while you sit there and wait for responses. Get out there, be seen, be a part of the organization. Another one is if you have a risk management committee. I've been in organizations where they have a risk management committee, and for the most part, they focus on a lot of the financial and regulatory risks, but get involved from business continuity, because if they identify different risks in the risk management committee, you can then take those back and say, oh, here's how business continuity, disaster recovery, emergency management, whatever the risk may be, cybersecurity, with your technology partners, say, here, how are we going to enhance this? How are we going to address this risk that they've identified? How do we address risks that they haven't identified and we have thought of? How do we bring that to the table and say, hey, this is what we can do to address this risk that you didn't even know exists? Be a part of it proactively, right? You don't have to have an answer for every single thing at some of these committee meetings, but you do need to be involved and take action to address them. And then the next time you meet, month, 2, 3 months later, some of these committees only meet every month or every 2 or 3 months. You can come back and say, here's what we've been able to do to date. Here's our action plan going forward, and that's showing business continuity value. And then the next time something comes up, people will look and say, hey, business continuity, disaster guys, are you involved with this? That's how you get involved. Sitting around waiting won't get you involved and won't embed business continuity. And the last thing I want to talk about is, actually, it's not the last. I've got two. One that I'll save the one for last here. Business continuity and preparedness levels and response plans should be a part of somebody's review. If your organization does these performance reviews, and we all know how much we love them, somebody has to have that on their list. Maybe it's that VP I said at the beginning who sits at the C-suite table. Maybe it's just a director. But find out from them who it is and talk to them and find out, what do they know? What do they not know? What do they need help with? Because their position depends on you doing your role. And if you do your role, you will be recognized for it as well, right? If you make your manager look good, your manager is going to make you look good. It's not just a one-way street, so find out who's got that, who's responsible for it, and start working with them. Start finding out their expectations. If it is someone at the C-suite, then you can actually go to them and find out, well, what are your priorities? Right? And that's going to go right back to your BIA, because your BIA may say something else, that, no, these other things are priority. But C-suite table, if there's somebody there who's responsible for it, is going to turn around and say, no, this is what we expect. And if you've got that, you've got the buy-in. You've got BCM embedded. You've got everyone behind you, because the guy responsible for it isn't, or the girl, is not going to turn around and want you to fail because it impacts them, right? The last thing I do want to say is I'm not a big fan of some of these lunch and learns. Lunch and learns is not embedding business continuity into your organization. Unless you're paying for lunch, you're not going to get a huge turnout. And really all you're doing is telling somebody what you do, whoop you do. Are there business analysts who do that? None that I've ever seen. Are there network people who have a lunch and learn? Hey, come and learn all this techie, geeky stuff. Not seeing that either. Project managers don't have time for anything like that. Yeah, business continuity has a lunch and learn, and sometimes other areas do, health and safety and a few other bits and pieces. But as a lunch and learn, they just aren't successful. All you're doing is having people sitting in a room, eating your pizza or whatever you've ordered, if you've even supplied anything, and you're really just telling everyone what your job is. There is no benefit there. That's not embedding business continuity. People just walk away, well, thanks for the pizza, and they're no better off than before they walked into the door. So you're not embedding anything. It's not an approach that works. If you have other suggestions, other ways of embedding organization, and I know there are a few, and there's some that I thought of while I was talking and that I haven't brought up, but maybe I'll bring up in another video sometime. Feel free, leave a comment. Let me know. What are the ways you've been able to embed business continuity into your organization? And was it successful? How successful? What went right? What went wrong? Would you do it again? What would you do different? In the meantime, stay prepared, everybody. If you liked that video, thumbs up. If you didn't like that video, thumbs down. But leave a message and let me know what your thoughts are. If you'd like to be a guest on the show to talk about something related to business continuity, disaster management, COVID, personal well-being, anything that's relatable to those subjects, you can reach me through my LinkedIn profile, which is in the video description. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. In the meantime, stay prepared, everybody.